Okay, hello everybody. So it is Friday evening and I am in Barnet High Street and I'm wearing Royal Oud from a sample here. It's been about an hour and a half, 2 hours since I sprayed it. It's got a nice wood. It gets better, I think, as it dries down, this one, and the woodiness, I really like it. When you first spray it, it sort of smells like a packet of salt and vinegar crisps that's fallen in an ashtray, which is not necessarily great, but as it dries down, it gets better. So I'm going to empty out the rest of this sample probably by the end of the night, and we'll see how it goes. It's not looking great. It's a bit quiet, bank holiday weekend. Everyone's gone away. But Mr. Smelly is not done yet. So let's see what we can achieve with the rest of this sample. Let's see if we can spread some fresh, Creed-like oud smells around Barnet High Street tonight. Let's project. Let's see if we can do it. Let's project. Come on, guys. So in hindsight, the choice of Royal Oud with its subtle notes of pinkberry, angelica root, Indian oud and galbanum was perhaps not the best choice for my night out that particular evening, and I think some of its subtleties were perhaps lost on the other patrons of the pub. However, I did enjoy my wearing of this fragrance, and although the opening was a bit harsh for me, it did dry down to a really nice subtle woodsy tone, and from first impressions I'd say this one's definitely worth revisiting for me, and I really enjoyed wearing this sample. It seems like a really interesting, delicate fragrance with a lovely woody dry down. New from Smelly Solutions, the olfactometer. Tired of guessing if your fragrance is projecting, how long it lasts and how much sillage you're producing? The olfactometer is a stylish and discreet head unit that measures your fragrance's performance as you wear it and sends the information straight to your smartphone. It can be worn at home, at work, on dates and special occasions. No longer does the lady in your life need to feel embarrassed that your fragrance has stopped projecting. When projection falls below 6 feet, this discreet alarm alerts you that it's time to reapply. Now! Not available in any stores. Call this number now to order your olfactometer. So today's video is going to be a tag video, and I was tagged by Lanier Smith to do this one, so I'm really honoured to be tagged by Lanier, who is a really great YouTube fragrance reviewer. The link to his channel is in the description below, and I urge everybody, if you haven't seen his channel before, which I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, absolutely check it out. He's a really great reviewer, and not only does he give you great reviews of the fragrances, but he gives you a little bit of historical context and some cultural background sometimes. He's got great knowledge of films and things like that. And he also makes wonderful cocktails at the beginning of his videos, which is always rather enjoyable. So on to the videos. 4 fragrances, and you have to pick one for each season of the year, and they all have to be from one fragrance house. So which house did I choose? Well, the house that I'm going with is Acqua di Parma, the niche Italian fragrance house. This house does a lot of freshy type fragrances. They do really well at citrus fragrances, which have a kind of Italian chic about them. If you like citrus fresh type fragrances, then Marcello Acqua and Francesco di Parma have got your back. They've got you covered with most of their fragrances. So here we go. Now I'm doing the seasons going from the freshest, lightest scent across to the heaviest ones. It's not really going to go in chronological order. I'm going to do summer, then spring, then autumn, and then winter. So fragrance number 1, my pick for the summer from the House of Acqua di Parma would be Fico d'Amalfi. Okay, so this is from their Blue Mediterraneo line. They have a line where they do all kinds of different ones with a particular note theme. This is my absolute favorite from that line, and it's called Fico d'Amalfi, which means figs of the Amalfi region, and it's got a lovely citrus, lemony kind of thing that you get with all the Acqua di Parma fragrances, and the main note that really stands out on this one is the note of fig. Really delightful and playful and light and perfect for a hot summer's day, this one. It's such a nice fragrance. The great thing about it is it's a little bit different. A lot of these summer fragrances tend to be these typical aquatic ones, Acqua di Gio type of things like that, or maybe your very citrusy colognes, or your Neroli Portofinos, all of which are absolutely fantastic. This one's just a little bit different. It's fun with that fig note. Figs, to me, I always feel that it smells a bit like peach. If you're not sure what fig smells like, and I'm not, frankly, I would have said peach if I didn't know it was supposed to smell of figs, but it's an absolutely lovely, fresh, different, playful fragrance, and it's my favourite from the Blue Mediterranean line. Longevity seems to be pretty good, actually. Some people said longevity not great, but for me it lasted really well on my skin in the few wearings I've had since I've had it, and I haven't actually had it during a real summer. We're at the start of June, so hopefully if we get some hot weather or if I get away on holiday, I will be wearing this one. It's an absolutely delightful scent, and I urge everyone to check it out. And my choice for the springtime from Acqua di Parma is Colonia Assoluta. Let's spray a little bit on there. Absolutely delightful citrus opening, really bright, really fresh. It's a little bit like an updated, modernised version of their original Colonia, first produced in 1916, which you can still get. The colour of the liquid gives you a clue what this one's all about. It's just one of those light, refreshing, daytime type of scents. You could wear it all through spring, though, if you had to. I could wear it on a night in spring. I wouldn't have a problem with that. It smells really fresh. It's got some florals in the middle, and it's got a little bit of red pepper in the middle, just a little bit of spiciness. So there's a lot of floral notes in the middle, and then there's some amber and musk in the base, which makes it last well and gives it potentially a little bit of a manly vibe, although it is actually unisex. Some people think this has a bit of an old man vibe, or even a bit of a grandma kind of smell about it, and I can see that. If you're a young man in your 20s, this one might be just not quite appealing to you. I'm 39, so I'm moving towards my 40s. I'm comfortable with a bit of that old man vibe. Great if you're just maybe a spring day and you're wearing a V-neck woolly jumper and a white shirt or something. It has that kind of cozy vibe maybe about it, so it might not be super sexy if you're looking for a sexy fragrance, although I think it could be sexy in its own unique way. A really modern eau de cologne type fragrance with a little bit of a retro nod there, because it does have that kind of floral vibe. Absolutely lovely. I'd be happy to wear this throughout spring if I had to, and if someone put a gun to my head and I lost all my other fragrances. So just a little interlude here. So when you see all these expensive fragrances that a lot of us reviewers are talking about, you know, doing 4x1 house and all this kind of stuff, so I'm sure some of you who don't have a huge collection sometimes wonder, how do we justify all this expenditure, spending all this money on fragrances? And yeah, I must admit sometimes it is difficult to justify it. But what I always say to my kids, who I don't see as often as I'd like, when they're saying to me, "Oh, Daddy, why are we the only ones in the class that couldn't afford to go on the school trip?" Well, I just say to them, look, maybe you couldn't, but when I come to pick you up from school every other Friday in accordance with the court order for a weekend together, you know that you've got the best smelling dad in the playground, and I could just see in their faces that they understand. Thirdly then, for the autumn, again, people might not agree with my choice here. I've gone with Colonia Essenza. Acqua di Parma Colonia Essenza. This one is an absolutely adorable, lovely fragrance. It's really good. It's got strong citrus again in the beginning. The difference between this one and the last one is this one is a little bit deeper, a little bit richer to me, and the bottle colour kind of gives you a clue. It suggests a man in a tuxedo, maybe on an evening out. I think it's that kind of smell. It could work really well. A lot of people would say, oh, it's a summer daytime scent or a spring daytime scent. Well, yeah, it could be, but I think it also would work really well in the autumn time, in the daytime and in the nighttime, because it's quite deep. It's got some real musk in the base there, and it's got patchouli, which the others don't have, and I think that gives it a little bit more richness, a little bit more depth, and I think it could work absolutely fine for your autumn fragrance. I've worn it out in evenings in really cold weather, even in winter, and I felt that it went really well. So for me, I know it's a freshie, you can wear it any time of year, but I would be happy if I had to only wear one fragrance throughout the autumn. Acqua di Parma Colonia Essenza, I've talked about it before, a citrus freshie, but with a little bit of depth, a bit of testosterone, and it just suggests, it conjures up that image maybe of an Italian man in a tuxedo somewhere in Italy, sitting around maybe drinking a martini with a beautiful woman in some kind of rather sophisticated environment. However, it's pretty versatile. I also enjoyed wearing this one on a recent trip to Amsterdam with about 9 or 10 mates, where we just got lagered up and so a really versatile scent and well worth trying out. So Acqua di Parma Colonia Essenza, my autumn or fall scent. So for the winter, what am I going to choose in the winter? I've gone with Colonia Leather. So this is from their ingredients line. The previous two are from the Colonia line. The first one, Blue Mediterranean. This one is from the more upscale, expensive ingredients line, and they focus on particular ingredients. The other ones that I've smelled are the Colonia Oud, which is really powerful, and Colonia Ambra, which is also a really nice one. But the one I bought, Colonia Leather. Okay, so basically, This one again has got that really nice citrus freshness, but it's got the different thing, the obvious one, it's leather. It's got the note of leather in there, and that is the difference. It's basically a lot like Colonia Essenza meets Tom Ford Tuscan leather. If you want a dumbed down description of this one, that's exactly what it does. It has a very similar leather note to Tuscan leather by Tom Ford, but it's a little bit drier than that one that has a fruity sweet kind of thing going on in it. This one is more dry and bitter, and it's a really pleasant leather note, maybe a little bit more wearable in different circumstances than the Tom Ford, because of that freshness being in there. It's not so overpowering, but it's actually a really good strong performer and a good projector, and I think right up there in some people's view, and in mine too, with Tuscan leather by Tom Ford. So great fragrance, highly recommended, really enjoyable. My choice for the winter, Acqua di Parma Colonia leather. What a great fragrance. And it's time for me to tag somebody else, so I'm going to go with two different reviewers. The first one is Handsome Smells, a UK reviewer, and I'd love to hear his thoughts on what 4 fragrances and what house he would pick. And the other one I'm going to tag is a reasonably new reviewer back across in the United States, back across the Atlantic. I'm going to whack this ball back over there, and so it's going to be another Fraghead. So I'd really like to hear his thoughts on 4 fragrances and 4 seasons by one house. Thanks for joining me. Whatever we're doing in life, let's project. See you next time. Bye bye.